Jackie 33, you know what I have to say to you? Nerd! That's right! You passed the nerd test! Exactly! That's right, I got you guys! Exactly! I threw a Dr. Spock in there, and then all the nerds came to play. Oh, no, he's Mr. Spock!
I saw how you walked it back and changed it from Star Trek to Star Wars as if it was much different.
Live long and prosper. Can you do that? Yeah. This is how Vulcans shake hands.
That looks weird.
That looks weird.
Yeah, well,
like that
that's how you do it.
Terrifying.
That's how you do it. Live long and prosper.
Connor
Come
said,
on, Lawrence.
No, look, I'll hit you with one of these right here. There you go, right
Unbelievable.
there.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Happy Friday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. What the hell do I miss on Thursdays?
Well, Lawrence Jackson really submarined us from the start with wearing a Zach Wilson shirt for no reason whatsoever.
No reason.
And a Houston Astros cap. I asked him on air, who's Jeremy Pena? Never heard of him. World Series MVP.
That's his brand.
Yeah.
He wears a Braves hat every day. He knows Ronald Acuna.
At least he's from Atlanta, though.
Yeah.
What's the Houston Astros angle?
And by the way, he is somebody that has worn a Shedeur Sanders jersey on this show maybe 5 times over the course of the year, something like that, between pregame and happy hour. And like if ever there was a day for Lawrence Jackson to wear a Shedeur Sanders jersey, it was yesterday. No. He's been named the starter. He hasn't done anything bad yet.
He's bailing now.
Right?
No, here's the thing, though. Lawrence is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Now is the time to abandon Shedeur so no one can remember before he gets sacked by Max Crosby. The Browns are like 4-point dogs in Vegas. The market thinks Shedeur's terrible. That's going to be interesting.
Well, we got questions rolling in. Jay Woogie. Why did Jay actually shake Barry's hand like that?
It's a great question. It's a great emoji as well.
I'll tell you why, Jay Woogie, because Jay played along.
Yeah,
he's on. We're on TV. He's playing along. It was a bit. Yeah. There you go. Welcome to showbiz, Jay Woogie.
To be fair, Jay Woogie was a mistake, and I wouldn't do it again. And if I could walk it back, I would, despite its benefits for television.
Let's get into football.
It's a Friday. Wow, crazy to hear you say that. It's a Friday. We're going to answer your questions and what's on tap. Dr. Denny Carter will be in the house for your Flexual Frustrations. Jay and I have pickup lines for Matthew before we do any of that. Let's get into the football. The Roto World player news from Houston's upset win over the Bills with Davis Mills. Yes, 3-0 Davis Mills right now. As we look at the notable fantasy performances, James Cook at the top. That long run really set the table for his night, honestly. Khalil Shakir more by volume. And then a lot of Texans. Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins way more involved now. Nico Collins didn't get to 10 points, Matthew. And Josh Allen under 10 is really the story of this game.
This was a really good football game that was just awful for fantasy. Basically, I felt like James Cook did better than I think people expected him to be honest with, to your own point. That big run gave the touchdown. But listen, 100 yards and a touchdown against the Texans defense, which entered the week as the number 1 run defense in the NFL. I think Cook, awesome. And Shakur, again, they were in comeback mode the entire game. And so, this is a trend that we have seen before, guys, that that slot receivers against the Texans or players that are in the middle of the field often do well because Lassiter and Derek Stingley are so good on the outside, right? So none of that is surprising. The shocking thing to me is Josh Allen. I'm pretty sure that's Josh Allen's worst fantasy game of his career.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 things. One, I don't know why you still keep calling Khalil Shakir. His last name is Tupac.
I do the same thing every time.
What did I say, Shakur?
You say Tupac Shakur. Khalil Shakur. It's because Shakir is an I.
I apologize to Mr. Shakir.
Yeah, that's okay.
I apologize to the Bills fan and his family. 110 yards, nice day for Mr. Shakir.
We're only 4 minutes into the show. The only way is up. Secondly, Josh Allen against the Texans.
That sounds like a challenge.
I was going to say bad thing to say.
To be fair to Josh Allen, and the idea that it was his worst game, maybe it was the worst game statistically, he also went 9 for 30 against the Texans last year, which people forget because it was early on in the season. He completed 9 of 30 passes against them and then went on to go and win MVP. It just seems like a difficult matchup for Josh Allen. It's a difficult matchup for almost everyone. Will Anderson was out of his mind. I don't think that you're downgrading Josh Allen going forward. I think it's just a tough matchup and he'll snap out of it. It's just generally, Connor, is there a better defense than Houston's right now?
That's the thing. You're not downgrading Josh Allen for the rest of the season. You're downgrading who has to play the Texans because their edge pass rush is amazing. Their corners on the outside are awesome. They're really well called with DeMeco Ryans.
The funny thing is, though, You know who kind of torched the Texans? It was Sam Darnold and JSN. They did whatever they wanted through the air.
Yeah.
JSN's completely out of his mind. Maybe just the best wide receiver to ever
They're
live.
matchup-proof.
They had no answer for him whatsoever.
Right.
He went for like 8 for 129 and could have had 200. So that is a little oddity there. But
to your point about who plays the Texans next, you know who plays the Texans next?
Indianapolis Colts. We got two games against them.
Yeah.
For the shoe, for the AFC South, potentially. By the way, to add on to kind of in the same vein as Bengals AFC, Houston Texans, their odds to win the Super Bowl, some places hovering around 100 to 1. That team with that defense, Stroud coming back,
should not be 100 to 1.
Yeah,
right.
They have a lot of upside.
We've seen defenses like this carry teams all the
Also
way.
won
This is as
playoff
good of a
games each
defense
of
as
the
I've
past
seen in a
2
while.
years.
Yeah, right. So Stroud's been in there before.
Yep.
Man, that is deep. Maybe that's your pickup line.
Maybe.
Texans to win the Super Bowl. What do you think?
Probably going home with you, regardless of whatever, because, you know, but the AFC is certainly wide open a little bit. Davis Mills, like, it's never pretty. But since becoming the starter in Week 10, he's the 7th best quarterback in fantasy football. Whatever. Not a pedestrian fantasy day for him in this one, just 14.5 fantasy points for Davis Mills. 153 yards against the 2 passing touchdowns. But still, like, did enough, along with the defense, to sort of get the win. I don't feel like that much better about the Texans pass catchers with C.J. Stroud in there. It doesn't feel like, Nico could have had a better day here.
That's
as
probably
well,
the
right?
guy that you feel better about.
You'd feel better about with Stroud for Nico, but Nico had been really good prior to this game. I mean, just 3 targets, 11% target share for Nico Collins. He did catch all 3 passes, 3 for 55. You see it there on your screen. My best bet yesterday was Nico Collins to lead the game in receiving yards. That went to Khalil Shakir.
Yes.
And I saw that bet lost. Tough game for all of us on the desk in terms of the betting as well. Josh Allen did not hit his rushing prop.
To be fair, if he had it, he should have. Because he should have been running for his life more than he was. He just happened to sit back.
The play
in
got
pocket.
hurt on, especially.
Yeah.
He was like crow hopping to throw, and he should have just taken off.
Yeah. The one thing with Nico, and I agree, like the usage is not great. We'll see how it changes with Stroud next week going forward. He can only go up, but he was like the fingertip of Cole Bishop away from potentially like breaking that 50-yard touchdown. The play that he got the wind knocked out of him and kind of the momentum carried him. If Cole Bishop doesn't get his shoelaces there, we're thinking about Nico Collins a bit differently. But yeah, overall, I don't think you feel good about any of the secondary Texans pass catchers outside of kind of Dalton Schultz, who is what he is at this point. But yeah, these guys like Higgins and Knoll, they'll have moments, but Kirk, certainly can't trust them week to week.
Christian Kirk had only a 42% route participation. It's only his 2nd game this season with more than 7 points. I know he had, some over a big game here, but it's really like it's the touchdown. He basically had one big play, and he was targeted, to his credit, he was targeted a decent amount when he's out there. He just wasn't out there that much. Again, 42% route participation, didn't play a ton of snaps. I feel like you can sort of ignore Christian Kirk. You're still starting Nico Collins. I think Woody Marks is a more interesting conversation. Since Week 10, he's outsnapped Nick Chubb 139 to 38. He's got 80% of the Texans' red zone rush attempts in that span, and yet he's been under 8 fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. He hasn't seen a double-digit target share since Week 8. It's super weird. Like, he's getting the usage. It's just not turning into fantasy points.
Yeah, I think, Connor, and I'd be interested for your thoughts on this. To me, the Texans, they play offense like they know they have the best defensive football.
100%.
They just put the cue in the rack in the second half. Davis Mills, I thought, was really good in the first half. And then the second half, I was like, no, we are going to win this game by 1 score and rely on our defense.
They're okay grinding out games because the defense is that good. The way they can control the field all the time because they get teams on 3 and out all the time. You're right. That's the identity of defensive coaches. Like, they have that, if we get to 20 points, we'll probably win the game mindset, which is not good for fantasy, but it's very good for the Texans right now that showed they can literally beat anybody.
Yeah, as it relates to Woody Marks, though, in theory, though, a system like that would favor the running back. We're going to try to grind it out. We're just going to try to run the ball.
But their line isn't good enough for that.
That's right.
They're just not. They're not talented enough. There's nothing schematically they can do to overcome that.
Yeah. Could actually be a good matchup for Houston against the Colts, a Colts team that's now built around its 3-star cornerbacks. It's like, well, Houston's only got 1 receiver, so is your defensive kind of construction all that valuable? And the Colts, I think, will be a team that can be run on without DeForest Buckner in there. But that, yeah, Woody Marks is certainly, he has usurped Nick Chubb as the lead guy in the backfield, but there's not really any explosives. There's not huge gaps being created, and he is not, I don't think, at the level of player to overcome his context, not being suboptimal in terms of the blocking. But yeah, I think he's a viable low-end RB2, high-end flex guy each week, Woody Marks, and that's about it.
I actually think he's probably a lower end flex guy just because it's the usage is there, the production hasn't been. Last thing I want to talk about from this game is we sort of started at the top with Josh Allen. Proud Fantasy Life investor Josh Allen. We love Josh Allen here. We were a pro Josh Allen show, but single-digit fantasy points, first time since week 4 of last season. Second game this year without a touchdown. That was week 2. Pressured on 40% of his dropbacks, 8 sacks as well. Just absolutely crushing 8.1 fantasy points in this one. I'm in a guillotine league with all the people on the Dan Le Batard show. I do a weekly appearance on the Dan Le Batard show. Shout out to our friends at DLS, our comrades here on Peacock.
That's right.
A lot of Russian speak lately.
Why not?
With the hash and the comrades.
Maybe I'm a Russian agent. You ever think about that?
Your country won't be in the Olympics this year, so you have to find a new nation.
No one would ever suspect you. Let me tell you. It would be a massive reveal.
Well, I like chicken nuggets too much. I think I have a truly American diet. But here's what I would say. So our colleagues, maybe it's a better way to say on Peacock.
So absurd.
Niet, Jay, niet. Let me
This whole
finish.
time you were a Russian agent. This whole time. Man, you really held on. Year 4 of this show. How many years did you do stuff at the other network?
Yeah.
I mean,
man,
and it
exactly.
finally took a non-American to figure it out. That's the best part.
Mr. Spock over here getting the mystery here. This is vodka.
Nosvadanya to the charade.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
very good.
This is vodka. Anyway, what I will. Yeah, here you go.
Who do you think you are? Good to see you in the chat. No Russian would consume as much Diet Coke as Goat Berry.
Yeah, it's fair. Except I put vodka in it, so
Right,
who's
is it
thinking
really
2 steps
Diet
ahead?
Diet vodka.
Yeah, diet and vodka. All right. What I was going to say about Josh Allen, though, is that I'm in a guillotine league with everyone on the Dan Le Batard show, and we're down to 2. It's me and Chris Cody, the producer, and. So it's literally like we have
got all the good players.
We got all the good players.
Right.
We both have ridiculously loaded teams. My quarterback is Josh Allen.
Of course.
That's
Of
me
course.
and ours.
Yeah. Oh, you're down to
It's down to 5 of us, right? You're in it?
I'm still hanging around.
Yeah, you're still
It's
alive.
me, you, producer Pete, and I forget who the last 2 are.
That don't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. But
It's not me. I lost
there's a
a couple
good
weeks ago
chance
on that one.
I'm assuming I'm probably going to be cut from that last week.
I'm
sure a lot of people are.
Oh yeah, it's a crushing defeat again because
That's why
they
we
play some
drink free,
man-to-man
by the
coverage
way.
and we thought that Josh Allen rushing would hit, and just the idea that he's not going to throw any touchdown passes or run for one, just shocking.
To me, kind of one of the sneaky.
A week after being like the fantasy player of the year. So sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to. But because of this, Connor, because of you and because of me and because of everyone, Josh Allen managers drink for free today. Absolutely, like you are starting off the week in a big hole. So the least we can do is buy you a vodka.
Serve one up.
Serve one up.
With Diet Coke on the side if you prefer.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Hail Mother Russia.
Yeah. By the way, actually, I went to Russia like 10 years ago. And
did you really?
Yeah, and I was.
That's how you sussed me out.
Yeah, and I was stunned to
right.
see in bars in Moscow and St. Petersburg. You know what kind of hookah they serve? Absolute, which is
Really?
Swedish. Which is like,
that
such a
is
letdown. It's ridiculous.
perplexing.
That's shocking.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, stunning. Anyway, back to Josh Allen's fantasy performance. I think kind of one of the most underrated things, maybe under-discussed things of the season is that last year Josh Allen, for the whole year, took 14 sacks.
Yeah.
He took 8 last night.
Right.
And this wasn't a one-week thing.
No,
He's been
no.
taking a ton of sacks this year. He's been below average on the season in terms of sack rate. Now, it's the same offensive line, basically. I think
Deion Dawkins had a rough night.
he had a rough one, and the right tackle as well. Brown had to leave the game.
Yeah, Brown left the game, yep.
And Vandermark came in, which wasn't ideal either. But Allen I think it's gone both offensive line a bit worse. Weapons not separating. Keon Coleman is literally being made inactive.
Play calling is stale.
Play calling is
Joe
stale,
Brady.
and Josh just doesn't quite look at the same level.
He's falling back into I have to be Superman. That's exactly what it is.
It just feels like, and I'm sure this will be addressed in the offseason if the Bills don't make it to the Super Bowl, and at the moment it doesn't look like they're gonna. They're teams that are strong in the AFC. But like it does feel like it's Josh Allen and a bunch of guys. It's just like, hey, here, we're going to just surround, and they are wasting the prime. Like, they've got a generational quarterback. They've got a generational quarterback, and but he doesn't have a Travis Kelce. He doesn't have a Tyreek Hill. Like, he doesn't have some of the weapons that Patrick Mahomes has had. He doesn't have a Jamar Chase or a T. Higgins.
He's got Josh Palmer.
Right, that's right. He's got Khalil Shakir, Khalil Shakir should be a nice role player. Stop it. Now you're just screwing with me. Niet.
Steven wants us to get out of this game so badly. He's asked me for the last 7 minutes.
Shakir is somebody that should be like a nice role player, not your leading receiver.
Yes, that's
Is
exactly
my
right.
point.
I agree with
Is
that.
my point. Anyway.
Yeah.
I do have one last question to this
Yeah.
game, Jay. If the Texans keep winning, can Will Anderson win Defensive Player of the Year?
I think he has gone past Micah Parsons as the number one challenger to Myles Garrett, which saddens me as I have a lot of Micah Parsons defensively. But I think the reality is Texans have the number one defense right now by most measures. Anderson is 2 sacks ahead of Parsons. The issue is Myles Garrett has 15 sacks in 10 games and is the best defensive player of his generation, having the best season of his career. So I think that Garrett will have to slow down. The issue with Garrett slowing down is he's about to play Geno Smith and Cam Ward. So I think Garrett will likely just win.
Not a great bet.
I think Will Anderson is now the second most likely player to win that award, and he was magnificent last night.
And for people that are holding Josh Allen for MVP tickets, should they do what you did with your Saints tickets? Your Saints playoff tickets?
Yeah, not quite. Don't throw him in the bin, but put him next to the bin. Put him bin adjacent. Because Allen now, I think that Stafford and May set a pretty high bar for that award, and if you want to beat those guys, I think it's now at the point where you have to win every game. Like if Josh Allen, he has to run the slate. He's got to win 6 games and then have Stafford not get the 1 seed. So I think he drifted out to 15-1 range to win MVP. I think that's pretty fair.
Jonathan Medici, Barry is the Baba Yaga of fantasy.
I don't know that reference.
I don't either because I'm definitely not Russian.
That's good. Good defense. All right, let's get into the injuries we're tracking because there's a lot, and they're very, very important right now. Jackson Dart will not be ruled out of concussion protocol. He's not starting. It'll be Jameis Winston again. So
another Jameis week.
Another Jameis week. No Dart for the 2nd week in a row. Daniel Jones, a calf injury popped up on the report at the end of this week. It was not that way Wednesday, so keep an eye on that. Aaron Rodgers with his wrist. Josh Jacobs with his knee injury. Jalen
But
Warren.
he did, Jacobs, just real quickly, Jacobs did participate in individual drills yesterday. Like, he was at practice yesterday, again, as we talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we got the rundown.
All right, fine. I'm just saying, like, we always move off the injuries full screen too quickly.
Yeah.
I
By the
feel
way,
like.
Baba Yaga is a female character from Slavic folklore who fries and eats children and is often associated with forest wildlife as well. So.
Nerd!
The chat says that this is one is on us. Like, we're failing. It's a John Wick reference.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not going to lie. I was just assuming we were still in the Star Trek world that we haven't got out of for 4 days.
Character from Slavic folklore.
Yeah,
Google it, I never lies.
It's a bad job by us. I'll take the L.
right,
Joe
that's
Burrow,
fine.
by the way.
I've watched all the John Wicks, and I just...
I don't know
went
the
right
names.
through me.
Who
I've
knows the
seen
names
one.
of John Wick characters outside of John Wick?
Yeah, I think
Right.
the hell's
It's
wrong
like
with you
John Wick
people?
and then all the people John Wick kills.
Yeah.
That's what I
Except
thought
for the
that
couple
was.
of people that John Wick, betray John Wick.
Yeah, and maybe the Ana de Armas character, and that's
Yeah.
it. That's all I'm giving you.
Yeah. I don't even know the name of the dog that died. Sorry, spoiler alert.
It's called Dog. Yeah. John Wick Jr.
Joe Burrow, full participant in Thursday's practice. We're going to keep an eye on Joe Burrow updates all week. And the latest is from Paul Denner, who does a great job covering the team for The Athletic. He said, just got back from practice. Joe Burrow wasn't involved in stretch with the rest of the quarterbacks, but he did participate in portions of the low red zone drill that was starting as the media exited. Do with that what you will. We'll speak to Zach Taylor within the next 30 minutes. So maybe we'll have an update on Burrow by the end of the show.
Yeah, I am very doubtful that Burrow is going to play on Sunday. One, just reading between the lines of some of the reporting out of practice. And then secondly, the line is Patriots -7 in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's not going to be a touchdown favorite at home against, frankly, anyone in the NFL. So there's a chance that he plays clearly, but I think that because he plays on Thanksgiving as well against the Ravens, I think having him come off this absence and play 2 games in 5 days,
good point.
That seems improbable to me, but who knows? You know, he's Joe Burrow. He can do
Where
what
would
he
you
wants.
rank him if he did play?
If Burrow played, rank him like QB 6 or 7. Like, I mean, I think he's a top 10. I think he'd be a top 10 guy. Again, the reason why Flacco has been so good is their defense is awful, and he's got two of the best wide receivers.
Right.
I mean, he's got no chase. He's got no chase here. So he'd be a low end QB1, but I'd be hard pressed to not start him if I'd had Burrow. It depends on, I guess, who you have. But yeah, I mean, I think he would be a top 10 play. I think he'd probably be off the top of my head, somewhere in the QB8 range, something like that. The one last thing I'll say here, though, about him not playing, if they lose this game, they're 3-8, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just sort of feels like, why bring him back? The whole point of bringing him back is to try to save the season.
Yeah.
And if you lose this game, season's done. And if you felt better about Flacco after last week, I get it. But, like, obviously, that was a tough game for Flacco. And so that.
The only thing there, it's kind of when Lamar came back and everyone expected him to be back for that Bears game, and the Ravens at the time were, I think, 1-5. And if they lose that game against the Bears, they're 1-6 and the season feels almost over. And they held Lamar out of that game and gave him an extra 4 days to play against the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. And at the time I was thinking, like, he's been out 6 weeks. For a hamstring, how much does 4 days actually matter? Like, season's on the line. But I do think there is this aspect of having the guys play off a long layoff, two games in 5 days. That's just a lot. And these guys are the franchise, clearly, Lamar and Joe Burrow. So that would be my thinking. But also, let's be realistic. Like, the Bengals, I don't think they're going to do anything this year. They have maybe the worst defense of all time. So, like I said yesterday, I think it's not as cool having Joe Burrow when your defense turns everyone else into Joe Burrow.
I feel like on some level, when you think about how good the Colts are playing, I feel like there's a requiem on Lou Anarumo. Everyone was just like, oh, he did such a bad job with the Bengals last. Actually, when you see what they are without him, he actually did a great job last year.
He was a fall guy.
He was
like a total scapegoat.
He was a fall guy. But my point is like, I actually think now seeing what they've done this year with more or less the same talent.
Oh, the defense is substantially worse this year.
That's my point. That's my point. That's my point. Is I actually think, given the level of talent that he had to work with, that he actually, in retrospect, I think he actually did a really good job last year.
Getting the 27th ranked defense.
Yes, I know that sounds insane, but that's my actual point. Look at
Trey Hendrickson out hurts a lot, but Lou Anarumo clearly wasn't the problem last year.
Yeah, I mean, I always say that's like the best example of Mike Tomlin being a brilliant coach is how crazy Antonio Brown was after he left the Steelers. Because it's not like he suddenly turned crazy. He's always been sort of like, a guy that marches to his own drum beat, and yet when he was in Pittsburgh, it was kept in-house. And then he leaves Pittsburgh, and now he's leaving games in the middle of the game and ripping his shirt off.
Right.
And like...
And, there's a lot to unpack there. We're not going to go down that today.
You can take your shots against Antonio Brown. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Charlton writes, if Burrow can go, play Yosevas over Pierce this week. I feel like that's an unnecessary risk. Am I crazy?
Yeah, no, I will say if Burrow can go and Daniel Jones with that calf injury doesn't go, then yes. But no, Alec Pierce is, since the middle of the year, Pierce has been like the 17th best wide receiver in fantasy football, something like that. So I think that's getting a little bit too cute. We like Burrow, but Pierce, I think, is a different level.
Alec Pierce is also the patron saint of fantasy football happy hour. So when in doubt, defer to the patron saint over Andre Yosevas.
So we do have an update here, guys. This is from Adam Schefter. The Bengals just said that Joe Burrow is questionable for Sunday's game. The page had Aaron Glenn's playbook. Yeah. Aaron Glenn is setting trends. Everybody wants to be Aaron Glenn. You won't know who I'm starting. I like it.
Brand for the Bengals.
Yes. But it's more legitimate here than it ever was with Aaron Glenn. Like, what are you doing, Aaron Glenn? Like, stop it.
Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor.
Also,
we're 1-7.
Right.
The Bengals aren't going to do anything this year. I'm sorry. Like, they can send Joe Burrow out there.
I know, but why haven't returned to practice at all in that?
Why have him come back at all?
Yeah, no, but like, do you understand? Like, if the plan is to never play him, like, why even bring him into practice? Like, shut him down for the year.
Yeah, they're going to play him. I think the reason they're bringing him into practice this week is more to prepare him on the short week for next week, but we'll see. It's questionable. So I guess we'll find out on Sunday morning.
I guess we will.
All right,
on
and more
fantasy football pregame.
That's right. On more injury news, Buccaneers running back Bucky Irving continues to practice, but in limited fashion. He was limited on Thursday. And our very own Mike Florio yesterday on a warning on why Bucky might not be back anytime soon. Take a listen to this.
I'm not so sure Bucky Irving is going to be back this weekend based upon something I heard when we were in Philadelphia. I'll tell you off air what I heard. I want to be careful. It just underscores the very real existence of inside information. It's because it's something that probably shouldn't be out, but I don't think he's going to be back anytime soon. It definitely is more information than what's available in the injury report.
That's not an optimistic update.
That is not. I think what it says is that it's very pessimistic. And producer Steven, tell me we have an update now.
So he's been ruled out. Ben Bredeson, Bucky Irving, Jamel Dean, and Hassan Riddick are out per Todd Bowles. Chris Godwin is definitely trending toward playing. That is from River Wells.
Okay.
That's not a great report for the Bucs.
No. I mean, you know, Dean and Riddick, I mean, like that, like.
Bredeson on the other. Yeah, those are four guys they kind of need.
On the Bucky front, we've now had 2 weeks of limited practices and not playing.
So I don't want to speculate as to, you know, what Florio's talking about there. Sounds like there's you know, something more serious brewing below the surface. But the most important thing for us as a fantasy football show is that we now have at least clarity that Bucky Irving won't go. You feel a little bit better about Rachaad White and Sean Tucker in terms of their workload, because now it's a workload divided by 2 versus 3. All that said, no team allows fewer rushing touchdowns to opposing running backs this year than the Los Angeles Rams. Since week 5, I've given the stat out before, but Derrick Henry, the only running back to rush for more than 67 yards against the Rams. Only Derrick Henry since week 5. And so both guys, you know, ideally I would not start either guy if I had to. I think if I had to pick one, it would probably be Sean Tucker, just because I think he's got the better chance at a touchdown. I'm not convinced he necessarily comes off the field. I mean, they used him in the passing game.
Right.
He was so brilliant last week that I just feel like you don't put that toothpaste back in the tube. You don't suddenly say, like, hey.
How do you watch that and be like,
let's get less of that.
Yeah.
Right.
I do think as well that it's handy in a way that this is a Sunday night game, because you're probably going to be in a position where you know kind of what you need out of that game if you have both of these guys.
Yeah.
And if you need upside and you need someone to get you 21 points, then Sean Tucker will be your go. If you need someone to just get you 6-7 points, then Rachaad White with the dump-offs I think might be a higher floor in terms of at least getting to that type of range.
But when I do my ranking sweep, I will probably have them in the 25 to 30 range, both of them in kind of the running back 25 to 30, 25 to 32 range. So low end flexes, both of them. I think I prefer Tucker to Rachaad White, just because I think Tucker has the more upside and the better chance at a touchdown. Thomas Wald 177 says, I need one running back flex. Should I start Sean Tucker or Emmanuel Wilson?
Well, we don't know yet.
The good thing is that you'll get to make the choice based on whether Josh Jacobs goes in the earlier game.
That is the correct answer here. If Josh Jacobs is out, the answer is Emmanuel Wilson. To me.
Without a doubt.
Without a
Just
doubt.
Pure volume.
Yes. And if Josh Jacobs is active, then to your point,
Sean Tucker.
I'm Sean Tucker. Yeah.
Tuckwagon.
On the more optimistic Bucs news, guys, Chris Godwin did practice fully on Thursday. Obviously, he's trending towards playing right now. But his offensive coordinator, Josh Grizzard, had a bit of a fair warning on how much they can ask him to play right away.
Yeah, I think whether it's Buck or whether it's Chris, it's kind of the same thing, where these guys haven't played in so long. To be able to think that they're going to go out there and play 50 snaps or 55 snaps would be unfair to those guys. So seeing how much they can handle, getting them in there on the plays where we know it's really critical to that play, let them build their play strength to get their confidence back up, to get back to their top shape.
All right, so maybe, the question is, like,
It's a wait and see.
Yeah, but can you start Godwin in your flex in this situation? You'd rather not,
I guess
right?
if you're desperate, you can, but you don't.
Our league, I might have to.
Right,
There's just no
which I
players.
get that. I mean,
Right.
it just sort of depends, but you don't love it, right? You know, I mean, like, he's Chris Godwin, so could he have a nice game? But it's just such a narrow window there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't love it. I think what's interesting as well is the ripple effects onto Emeka Egbuka, who had an illness and was limited on Thursday. Expectation is he's still going to go. But
Cade Otton, who people have been using as like a tight end streamer.
Everyone just gets less attractive if Godwin is getting in there and playing.
Except
30.
Baker.
Yeah.
I feel better about Baker
That's
in
a
this
good
game.
Yeah, a little bit. You worried a little about Egbuka, who's, I think, caught like 45 out of 84 targets this year?
It's just perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like that hot start. Now, if Emeka Egbuka is not a star right away, we're like, well, what is this?
Yeah.
You're still getting value of where you drafted
Sure.
him. If you, after 4 weeks, traded a star running back for him, then yeah, you're probably concerned right now.
Who would you rather have the rest of the way, him or Teteroa McMillan?
T-Mac.
T-Mac, easy?
Yeah, just volume.
I agree.
Guaranteed
I
volume.
agree too. And that wouldn't have been the answer 1 week ago.
He's outpacing Egbuka right now after last week.
Yeah, he doesn't have the bye yet, which is the one thing. But still, I would think that on a per-game basis, Teteroa McMillan's a better bet the rest of the way.
Right.
Yeah. Keep pounding.
Yes.
That's right.
Never cease to pound.
Yes. Yes.
We got another.
Never stop pounding.
Another question.
If you
here.
think about halting the pounding, do
Yes,
not.
don't do it. Yeah, halt those thoughts.
Yeah. keep
Joshua
pounding.
Hoffman, 2060, flex Godwin or Rashid Shaheed?
Now, this one I would actually flex Godwin. We talked about this. We talked about Rashid Shaheed on the Wednesday show. We closed it out on Rashid Shaheed. He's just not getting the volume, just doesn't seem to have the connection with Sam Darnold just yet, despite the familiarity with the offense. And, JSN's just been so effing good,
He might be the best wide receiver I've ever seen. It's just ridiculous what he's doing this year.
YouTube Randy Moss when you get a chance. Nobody will ever be better than Randy Moss. That's my take.
That's
on that.
fair.
Randy Moss with Tom Brady that year.
I mean,
and
everybody
just-
thought Randy was done.
Yeah.
Then that's what was nuts
Jason's
about
going to
it.
have more receiving yards this year than Randy Moss ever did in the year. Doesn't mean he's a better player.
More
but,
games.
Yeah. Well, even without the games.
More games and a rule set now that if you breathe on a receiver,
Yes. Oh my God.
That's very
You cannot play defensive back anymore. But your point, Jay, JSN is unbelievable.
It's
he's
ridiculous.
having a ridiculous year.
Might be the best, just to my naked eye, just about the best route runner I've seen. His timing, his balance as well. It's really the one-hand down. So, it's frightening. We've got a lot of Jonathan Taylor win Offensive Player of the Year. Jason is terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. And by the way, he's on the road to Tennessee this week. He should,
should be fine.
Should be just fine.
We kind of answered this with the question, but Josh Jacobs, we don't know if he's going to play yet. I mean, you're starting Emmanuel Wilson if Jacobs doesn't play in almost every format, right?
Yep. Yeah, I'm at running back 15.
There you go, right there. And Trey Benson practiced in a limited capacity on Thursday. Jay, do you think you start Benson if he's active this week? This has been a weird one, just lingering for a long time with not a lot of clarity.
I just don't want any part of the Arizona backfield if I can avoid it. Don't know who to start. Don't know what kind of script they're going to have. Don't know what the condition of their defense is going to be. They're going up against the Jags team that I think you can run on, despite the best efforts of the LA Chargers not to run on them. But even 2 weeks ago, we saw what Woody Marks and Nick Chubb were able to do efficiency-wise against the Jags. So I would just hunt around for more beat reports as they come out, and we'll talk about it on Sunday pregame about what the anticipated usage is of these backs. But ideally, you don't want to start anyone on Arizona outside of Brissett, McBride, and Michael Wilson.
I agree with that take completely. I have Benson at 26. I sort of kind of a hedge ranking there as well. I know that you think you can run on Jacksonville, but just statistically, they allow the second fewest rush yards per game to opposing running backs and the sixth fewest fantasy points per game. Like they have actually, and whether it's because teams don't need to run on them because they've been so effective throwing against them or game script. So yeah, I agree with you. Just sort of like to the eye test, feels like you can run on them.
Yeah.
On the other hand, like they shut down the Chargers. They're very Jekyll and Hyde, the Jaguars. Some weeks they're like, oh, actually you guys are a legit defense. And then there's some weeks you're like, what are you guys doing?
Give up 35 to Matthew Stafford with no Puka Nacua.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place, but I do think, here's what I'll tell you. I'm going to just tell you this right now. This is exactly what's going to happen. If you start Trey Benson, I'm speaking to you, generally. If you start Trey Benson, Bam Knight is going to have the game of his life. But if you leave Benson on the bench, 2 touchdowns at 100 yards incoming.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, that's how it works. That's how it works for all of us here in the fantasy football community. Yeah. So we all just got to kind of vote what we want to do.
If you're dealing with these injuries, here's some top Week 12 waiver targets to take a look at. Trevor Lawrence has those Arizona Cardinals. Tyler Shuck, a top 20 play. Against Atlanta, Tajay Spears, he's always on this list. RB31 is Pearsall. Tootin is RB33. Devin Singletary, RB34. Christian Watson, definitely a flex play with his big playability at wide receiver 30. Keyshawn Boutte, Andre Yosevich. And then at tight end, Harold Fannin Jr. and Mason Taylor both cracked the top 15 tight ends, mostly matchup and usage related.
Yeah, Mason Taylor got 6 targets in Tyrod Taylor's first start of the season. Fannin, 23% target share since week 7. How about Pearsall Tootin, who's out-touched ETN in week 11, 15-12 prior to leaving the game with that injury. He's been questionable all week long as well. Last week, Christian Watson had a 20% target share. He leads the NFL in average depth of target since he returned. Keyshawn Boutte, in his last 3 healthy games, had 4 touchdowns. And we like the Patriots, obviously, getting to play the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Boutte is sort of pretty interesting. I've always kind of been into Boutte.
Right.
But now,
I have
I
the man to help you with that.
Really?
Yes, we have an actual doctor ready. Denny Carter.
Yummy.
Denny, there's a lot of disrespect for shorter people on this show, I've noticed over the years. And for the 5'7" Greg Dortch, he might be the guy for the Cardinals this week. Does size really matter here for Greg Dortch?
It's a good question about size. Does it matter, Dr. Carter?
It doesn't matter. It matters how you use what you got. And, Connor Rogers, our short king, many are calling him. When I go to the studio, all I hear is short king Connor. So Greg Dortch is our short king for the Cardinals. Look, he's going to play a lot this week.
Flexual Frustrations with the doctor himself. Hello, Denny. How are you?
Hey, guys. Hey, the short king got there. I told you, okay?
Yeah.
And it was all from our guy, Jacoby. We'll talk about him in a minute, I think.
Denny, it was so nice with the short king. We're going to run it back twice. How about his teammate, Michael Wilson, in this game against Jacksonville after going nuclear last week?
Yeah, look, one day, this explosion from Jacoby Brissett is going to stop, okay? We don't know when that's going to stop, but it's not going to stop this week. And I'll tell you why. The Jaguars are the preeminent, some are saying, pass funnel defense in the NFL this season. That means that teams are leaning hard toward the pass and away from the run. Actually, Matthew just mentioned how good the Jags have been against the run this year. I think Brissett is in for another 40-plus attempt day. Last week, the Cardinals as a team had 325 air yards. That's a lot. That's a lot of air yards. And boundary receivers are getting there week after week against the Jaguars. Michael Wilson should be in your lineup this week.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Dr. Carter, as you mentioned, just kind of the explosiveness. Explosions tend to fade. It's not always going to stay. Like as people get older, maybe not as explosive.
Right.
But probably not this week with Jacoby Brissett. I'm just saying. Dr. Carter is very. This is what we learn. You learn about this in Mother Russia. Anyway, what I want to say, Denny, is I got an email. Here that I'd like to. It was passed along for me to pass along to you. Says Matthew, can you please ask Dr. Carter this? This is from a guy named Pete. Pete says, Dr. Carter, I've been having real performance issues lately. It's been really tough for me to perform. And I was talking with a buddy about these performance issues, and my buddy said, have you tried Coke? And I said, well, I never have. Do you think that would help my performance issues? And my buddy said, yes. Yes, I think Coke would get you up, would get you to where you need to be. So the question to you, Dr. Carter, is should Pete try Coke? Should he try Jalen Coker this week in his flex?
Pete sounds like a Pepsi guy, and there are studies that say that Pepsi, has a negative effect on your performance. So you should switch. You should switch to Coke. I figured that's what you're talking about here. Look, because Jalen Coker has run a route on 75% of Carolina's dropbacks over the past 2 weeks. That's pretty good, mainly from the slot. And the 49ers are allowing a league-high 95 receptions to slot pass catchers in 2025. That's 8.7 per game, as you can see on the graphic there. The second most yards. They're allowing the second most yards to slot guys. The total for this game, guys, has risen to 49.5. It could be fun. So if you want a little fun, you try Jalen Coker this week.
Okay. Yeah, Cokeheads Unite.
I like the interaction of, have you tried Coke? Oh, wow, no, I never have.
Yeah, that's very normal.
Very normal. Yeah. It's like ChatGPT talking to ChatGPT.
Oh, it's good. Dr. Carter, I too want to talk about performance issues. I want to talk about performance in the cold. Because as we know, it shrinks.
Yes, absolutely.
It shrinks in the cold, which can be embarrassing. I talk, of course, about passing game production in the cold when there are gusts of winds. And that could affect Luther Burden III against the Pittsburgh Steelers out in the cold in Chicago, where it will be 5 degrees Celsius. I still haven't learned Fahrenheit. I don't know. But 5 degrees Celsius is very cold, and I can assure you. Can you start Luther Burden in the cold, despite the shrinkage, Dr. Carter?
George Costanza should not have any shame about what happened to him way back in the 90s, okay? And we shouldn't have any shame about playing Bears pass catchers this week because the Steelers, like the Jaguars a minute ago, are a pass funnel defense, and really one of the more extreme ones. They are allowing a league high 15.2 wide receiver receptions per game. And Luther Burden finally, at long last week, took over the slot duties from Olamide Zaccheaus. Ben Johnson said, quote, "You get what you earn," and I think Burden has earned an increase in snaps. He steadily climbed. Okay, so despite the cold, I think that he can still perform. He can still get it done.
Tom Garrett in the chat goes, Celsius.
Yeah, I don't know about sales.
Wait, Tom Garrett, that's the problem. You have a question mark about this segment?
All of the things
of everything that just was said, Celsius is what raises your eyebrows.
To answer more of your Flexual Frustrations, of course, Denny does a live Q&A right after our show on the Roto World Football Show. Denny, thanks for joining us as always.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dr.
Sunday
Carter.
night, two quarterbacks who continue to turn back the clock will clash as Baker Mayfield leads the Bucs against Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Sunday, 7 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. We're taking our first break. We're answering some of your best questions coming up next on What's on Tap.
Aloha Brooks with a really good question.
Yes, full PPR. Woody Marks or R.J. Harvey got to start one this week, unfortunately.
Well, I'm going to give you the answer. It's Woody Marks this week because R.J. Harvey's on a bye.
Right.
There you go. I got one right.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
You could worry about a Woody Marks fumble and getting negative points, and you start R.J. Harvey instead, but you probably want to start Woody Marks.
Let's roll this one back if Woody Marks gets hurt on an opening snap fumble.
But I think, but where I thought
that R.J. Harvey.
Yeah, aloha, Bricks. Bad look on you. I think he literally just lost 2 spots in the regular power rankings.
Speaking of those regular power rankings.
Wow.
9 spots.
Fall from grace for Aloha Breaks.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you don't check R.J. Harvey's bye weeks.
No, I mean, it's like Alabama last week. Alabama, we know Alabama's a good team, but they lose to Oklahoma. You got to drop. Jonathan Medici up 3 to number 1. Finally, Medici.
Nice week for Jonathan Medici.
He's been on a run for a couple of weeks. Raised the flag, stays even at number 2. Valiant Vincent up 2 spots. K-Gemma89, not ranked last week, makes a debut on the list this week at number 4. Johnny Dangerly up 2 spots to number 4. Stuntman Chuck85, nice to see him on the list as well. He's been a steady contributor for a while. Heavy Meat Sauce stays even at 7. And yes, Heavy Neck Brace Nation.
Yes,
not surprised.
This is a big one.
Lawrence Jackson.
This is a contender.
Yeah. For some reason, Ved had a tough week, but not as tough as Aloha Brooks. Tej.
Sayonara Bricks.
Yeah, Tej and Ryan Oswald and somebody else that went away.
Cobra
others receiving
Kiger.
votes.
Cobra Kiger, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Jonathan Medici weighing in. Stephen, in preparation for this moment, I prepared a speech. Connor with vigor. Stephen Q. Hans Zimmer, Journey to the Line.
There you go.
Nice.
Awesome.
I like it. Well done, Jonathan. That's why Jonathan Medici.
Yes, he doesn't get complacent.
You are number one. There was another good comment.
He keeps crushing. He doesn't take it. Like obviously Aloha Bricks, a little lazy on the research.
Yeah,
he took it for
cracks the top
granted.
3, stops looking up Denver bye weeks.
Brian Hickman said, yikes, they really did go full old BCS formula on the rankings.
Yeah, we did.
That's right.
1,000%.
We'll see what next week brings. All right, let's get into
Medici. Regular cheers crescendo. So this is how Liberty dies, with thunderous applause. And then he believes Star Wars over Star Trek. You're right on that, Medici.
I agree with that, Medici.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into What's on Tap, which is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Sundays are easy to enjoy when they're full of football and the fridge is filled with beer, and we're going to make it even easier for you by taking some of your questions. Let's jump right in here, guys, and this is from a regular in Heavy Meat Sauce who asked, Dak or Purdy this week? I'm leaning towards Purdy, but Dak's got that dog in him.
How's the implication from Heavy Meat Sauce that Brock Purdy is absent dog in him?
Yeah.
I don't like that. Brock Purdy's got some dog in him.
Start some decisions with the dog meter, though, as well. That's a positive for Heavy Meat Sauce. I like that.
Yeah, the problem with Dak is that, yes, he's got that dog in him, but he's also got like a cat and like an occasional squirrel.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, I don't know.
The cat mainly comes out in January.
Yeah, you see my rankings that right there. I have Purdy 2 spots ahead of Dak Prescott. Multiple touchdown passes in all 3 of his starts so far this season for Brock Purdy. Carolina Panthers are 32nd in the NFL in pressure rate. Like, no team gets to the quarterback less than the Carolina Panthers, so Brock Purdy should have a clean pocket to look for Kittle, Pearsall, Jennings, Bourne, Christian McCaffrey as well. So, this game is in San Francisco as well. So, yeah, give me Brock Purdy in this one, guys.
Yep. I think it's mainly a commentary as well about the fact that Dak has to play the Eagles defense, who I think would be, along with Denver and Houston, in contention for the number 1 defense in the league. They've just completely, Jared Goff couldn't do anything. Jordan Love couldn't do anything. These are 2 of the best offenses in the league.
Yeah.
Just completely powerless.
Yeah. And Jalen Carter is not going to spit and get thrown out after the first play in this one.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Probably not.
All right, our next question is from Derrick's 7047. Need some help. Alec Pierce or Alvin Kamara, full PPR?
Yeah, I get this question, right? And
you
want to say Pierce. You want to,
That always helps when you're answering.
Yet. I do think, I get the question. I understand why you would think this. Obviously, we are an Alec Pierce show, but I weirdly think, as gross as it is, I think Alvin Kamara might be the answer here. 25 touches last week for Alvin Kamara. That was a season high. Played 64% of the snaps. That was his highest since week 7. And in both of Tyler Shuck's starts this season, he's had a double-digit target share. You think about this Falcons team where the strength is more the secondary. They're giving up the 3rd most fantasy points per game to opposing running backs. I get that it's gross and that Pierce could get deep for 1, but I just feel like in terms of the floor play, it's definitely Kamara. If you need to swing for the fences, Pierce obviously could get deep for 1, and you could see Kamara wind up with not a touchdown and have like a 10-point game and kind of a pedestrian thing, but I think Kamara is probably the safer play with a higher floor here.
Sacrilegious, really.
I get it.
Put disdain on the patron saint. Good luck to you, Matthew. You can start the bad player, and I'll start the good player. The great Alec Pierce.
Your answer is Alec Pierce here.
No, it'd probably be Kamara, just because they're 2-point favorites against the Falcons' rush defense. Also, you do worry a little bit about just the bottom falling out of Atlanta with everything that's happened this past week, and the fact that they don't have a great rush defense at the best of times. And Tyler Shuck, I think that Tyler Shuck is going to be the superior quarterback in this matchup, and also get the Saints in scoring position a reasonable amount. Shuck has been very solid his 2 starts to date.
Yeah, and you're also like, Kansas City's got a good defense. And do they
Good-ish. Why are we giving up 3rd and 15s to the next to the season on the line?
Good-ish. You're right. Good-ish.
Josh Allen did whatever he wanted against them. And I understand that Houston's a different caliber of defense, but there's some issues with the Chiefs' pass rush in particular.
Yeah, my only thought is this is literally their season.
That's literally their season last week, though. When are we going to run out of the season stuff?
They just don't have it.
Yeah, maybe they don't.
All right, our last question from Big Chief.
We still think Kamara's the answer.
Big Chief X13, full PPR. I need one wide receiver, Michael Wilson, Emeka, Egbuka, or Ricky Pearsall. Would you flex any of them over Etienne?
Of the wide receivers, I think it's Emeka, Egbuka. Even if Chris Godwin comes back, over those last 4 games, he's had a 30% target share. Rams have allowed at least 17 fantasy points to an opposing wide receiver in back-to-back games. If you tell me a wide receiver in this game gets 17 points, you feel better about it being Egbuka, even if Godwin comes back, because we don't know, will he be on limited snaps? Where is he exactly at? So I do think Egbuka over Wilson or Pearsall, though I will say if Godwin comes back, it's really a coin flip between Egbuka and Wilson. Right now I have Egbuka at 11, I have Wilson at 17, but if I knew for sure that Chris Godwin was definitely playing, I feel like you would make them closer. I'd probably still keep Egbuka there, but it's close.
Yeah, it's a really tough matchup against the Rams, a Rams team that just doesn't give up explosive pass plays.
Their safeties are awesome.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah. Now, Quentin Lake is hurt, so he's not, I think he's gone on IR, which doesn't help at all. But
and we just heard Dr. Denny Carter talk about Wilson. We talked about how bad Jacksonville is against perimeter wide receivers as well. But I will say the other part of that question, I would not flex any of them over Travis Etienne. I would still start Etienne. So I really think it comes down to Egbuka versus Wilson. Feels like you're leaning Wilson.
I would lean Wilson. I think it's going to be a shootout, and he's still the number 1 wide receiver for a guy that just set the completions record.
Yeah, I would start Michael
You break
Wilson.
the team. You would.
Yeah, I would go with
you
Michael
break
Wilson.
the tie. All right,
I'm a Jacoby believer.
Sure.
In this,
you're a Jacobler.
This cheap. I'm a Jacobler. Jacobler.
Jacobler's funnier. Jacobler is more accurate, but Jacobler's funnier.
Sounds like a chicken.
Yeah. Jacobler. Yeah. I mean, because then it gives you it just allows you to talk trash, Choke on that, Jacobler.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Choke on the Jacobler.
Right.
I'm working it out.
Yeah. Saved by the bell.
By the way,
the time.
Travis Etienne, is this his 4th year in the league? Feels like he's been in the NFL for 15 years.
Right. Well, and on some kind of injury 75 times. Aloha Bricks, 9 spots is crazy, but hey, we all have our weeks.
Yeah, that's okay. You bounce back.
You're just motivated to bounce back.
Yeah, exactly.
Aloha Bricks.
Listen,
you're the Chiefs against the Colts now.
Yeah, listen, Aloha Bricks. You're like Alabama. You fell. You had a loss, but you know what? You've still got a game against Auburn.
You'll climb back up.
Yeah.
That'll do it for What's on Tap, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're taking our last break. When we're back, we have our best picks to impress Matthew. Pickup lines after the break. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
The crown is yours.
The crown is yours. Pick up lines for last call. Not our best showing this year, which is usually our strongest betting segment, but let's see if we can turn it around and finish the season strongly here. Matthew has sided with Jay 7 times, me 4. Jay, what do you got for him this week?
Okay, when in doubt and in need of a friend, call on a king. King Henry, over 87.5 rushing yards against the New York Jets. King Henry is averaging 98 rushing yards over his past 5 games. He's quietly had at least 18 carries each of the past 5 games. The Jets, they rank in the bottom 10 as a rush defense on a per-play basis this year, and a lot of that sample comes with Quinnen Williams, who might be the most valuable rush defender in the NFL. Now, the 2 weeks without Quinnen Williams, Jets' rush defense has been surprisingly okay against Quinshon Judkins and Trayvon Henderson. I think that says more about the offensive line of the Browns and the offensive line of the Patriots, which is not the strength of the team. I think that the Ravens, with Derrick Henry now back to breaking off long runs, he had the 59-yarder against the Cleveland Browns. I think that Henry will break at least 1 run, and he will go over 87.5 rushing yards.
How about both our picks coming from Jets-Ravens in this one? Obviously, we're following the same script here. The Jets are almost 14-point underdogs, Matthew. Breece Hall over 2.5 receptions. The Jets' passing game has not been able to get Breece Hall the ball because Justin Fields just can't throw a check down on time. 1 start for Tyrod Taylor. He targeted Breece Hall 6 times, completed 4 of them. I think by kickoff, this line will move to 3.5 from 2.5, but it's been at 2.5 this week at a pretty good price. So I think Tyrod Taylor gets the ball to Breece. The Jets just don't have a lot of pass catchers that are viable.
I like both these bets quite a bit, and I really hope yours hits because I have Derrick Henry against Roto Pat in our matchup this week. But I'm going home with Connor. The tracksuit is talking to me a little bit. Jets insider.
Denver
I agree
golf.
with it. Yeah. Listen, if you can't put your money on Tyrod Taylor, who can you put your money on?
Jets crazy world. Is the big betting game of the week on the desk.
Exactly. So I'm going home. Give me over on Breece Hall 2.5 receptions, but I like the Derrick Henry one as well.
We got some news here. Tyler Drake tweeting the Cardinals are signing running back Jermar Jefferson to the active roster. Arizona is also adding running back Sincere McCormick to the practice squad. Not a great sign for Trey Benson's availability, which is obvious.
Wideout.
Yeah,
we care about.
Well, it looks like Bam Knight. Looks like Bam Knight rides again against the Giants.
Walks.
Saunters.
Waddles again.
There we go.
Anyway, whatever.
Underdog NFL. Sam Laporta unlikely to return this season after undergoing back surgery. This is very disappointing.
Yeah, Dan Campbell. So maybe we see some Brock Wright. Didn't do much in that last game, but of course none of the Lions did as well. But disappointing. Yet another guy that I drafted that is now out for the year. He was my tight end. That was my 5th round pick. So just very frustrating. Hey, fantasy football pregame is on Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, all the way until kickoff. Jay, Lawrence, George, and myself. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. For Connor and Jay and Dr. Denny Carter, I'm Matthew. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.